Welcome back, guys, to another significant waste of everybody's time. I'm your host, just Lando, in case some of you guys still didn't know that for some reason. And today we're talking about how little your insignificant lives actually matter. Huh? Kind of, not really. We're actually going to be talking about how big the universe is and all that stuff, but it should, in turn, make you question your own existence and why you wait for it don't matter. It's okay though, because I don't matter either, so we actually have a lot more in common than you probably thought. Anyways, before we get into the video, obviously gotta address the new studio. So today we're in my space station studio, 2,000 square feet, $8 million a square foot or some stupid like that. I just kind of stopped looking at numbers at this point, and I paid all in cash for it, which shouldn't be surprising to literally anyone. But I really do love the studio, mainly for the reason of being figuratively and literally above everyone else on the entire planet. And trust me when I say there is no better feeling than looking down on other people. No better feeling. Anyway, so before I completely run out of sarcasm already, which is kind of starting to happen, let's get our thinking caps on and learn about our insignificant place in this universe. Alright.
This is Earth. You live here on this planet somewhere, and
speak for yourself, man. I mean, I used to live on Earth. I used to, and now I don't. You know what I mean? Like, all you gotta do is just, like, get your money up, and then you can live up, above the entire human species. It's, like, simple as, making a ton of money. Could you imagine if you, like, still lived on Earth, though? I used to live on Earth, and then I grew up, and... Huh? It's honestly just kind of like overrated at this point. I'm kind of over it.
That you've ever known is located right here.
Except for me, I'm not located there anymore, but...
But just how small exactly is Earth when compared to the scale of the entire universe? Let's start by zooming out to where we can see our nearest cosmic neighbor, the Moon. You may think that the Moon is very close to Earth since it dominates our night skies, but in reality the Moon isn't this close to our planet, it's actually about this far away. 384,400 kilometers away from you right now on...
I honestly think that's where my next studio is going to be, probably somewhere on the Moon. Real estate market's really low over there, there's not a lot of people there, a lot of open space. Yeah, I'm probably gonna move to the Moon pretty soon.
Average. You could fit 30 entire Earths in between this distance, and if you somehow were able to drive a car at a constant 100 kilometers per hour speed, it would take you about 160 days to drive the entire distance.
That is pretty damn far away. I don't so much as like to even drive across the street to go to the gas station, so I couldn't imagine driving 160 days. That's honestly why I started flying private pretty much everywhere, even if it's in like the same city. You're just not gonna catch me in traffic with a bunch of fucking everyday people, you know what I mean? Not to mention even being on Earth, but like if I'm on Earth, I'm not gonna be driving through traffic.
Despite this incredible distance, however, 12 humans have actually set foot here, representing the furthest away that any individual human has ever been away from the Earth.
See, I'm so much of an introvert that I would actually like to live like even further than that. Hopefully maybe like Mars once we get that thing, that ball rolling. That way if somebody's trying to visit me, it's gonna take them at least like a fucking year, and if there's like nuclear war or something like that, I won't really get like affected like personally, so that's my plan in the future.
And one of humanity's greatest achievements. This is what the Earth would look like from there if you were standing there with them, and if you wanted to communicate with somebody back at home, it would take a message about 2.5 seconds to travel between you and them, since that's how fast the speed of light can travel at.
See, even that's too quick. Ideally, like if I was on Mars, it would probably take a few hours to maybe a few days, and that's probably enough time. I don't need somebody blowing up my phone 24/7. If I got like a crazy ex-girlfriend on Earth, she wouldn't be able to reach me nearly as often if I was on Mars, so Mars is gonna be my next destination.
This is a photo that was taken on Mars, and that tiny dot that you see there is Earth as seen from the Martian surface. On average, Mars is an incredible 225 million kilometers away from Earth, but that distance can be as high as 401 million kilometers.
Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah. That should be far enough away.
That means that whenever humanity finally gets around to landing a human on the planet, that person will be 986 times further away from Earth than the astronauts who landed on the Moon were. In addition, the time delay for sending a message from Mars back to Earth isn't just 2.5 seconds, it's actually more like 20 minutes each direction.
Okay, sarcasm aside though, like if you're gonna be an astronaut and you're gonna get sent to Mars and you're willing to do that, you pretty much have to have either a death wish or you just have nobody on Earth that you plan on ever seeing again, because I mean I think it would probably take close to a year to travel that far. They're probably gonna talk about that in like 5 seconds, but I mean I'm an introvert, but like that's gonna be a little much unless my ex-girlfriend is just out of her fucking mind, which in that case we will kind of take a different course of action,
which would render instant communication in the event of an emergency impossible. When we zoom out even further away, we can find the Voyager 1 space probe, which is the furthest away man-made object from Earth. It is currently located 138 AUs from the Earth. AU meaning astronomical unit, which is the distance between the Earth and the Sun, which means that Voyager 1 is 138 times further away from us than the Sun is.
I'm honestly amazed that we've been able to send something that far that we're still in contact with and that's still operational to this day. I mean, I don't know if that thing's running on just some really good Duracell batteries or if it's solar powered or what, but I mean, that's props to humanity for pulling that off. I just looked it up and the Voyager 1 was sent into outer space in 1977 going 38,000 miles an hour. So it's been going 38,000 miles an hour for the last 40 years and that's how far it's gotten so far. So I don't know how far that is in like the grand scheme of things, but we're about to find out.
On its long voyage, Voyager 1 turned its camera around and took this photograph. It may not look like much at first, but in my opinion, this is the greatest single photograph ever taken in all of human history. This tiny, pale blue dot is Earth, and I don't think that anybody has ever said something as amazing about this as Carl Sagan when he said, "If you look at it, you see a dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever lived out their lives."
The way he just framed that makes me feel like I'm about to go through like an existential crisis. It's just crazy to think that anything that's ever happened in all of human history has only happened on this speck of dust, just like, you know, barreling through the galaxy. But at the same time, you know, I'm kind of like over this whole solar system in general, so I'm probably gonna like find a better one somewhere. But for you guys, I mean, this is the end all be all, but not for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
All our joys and sufferings, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and every forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer.
I kind of feel like the way he said coward there almost made it seem like he was talking about me. I don't know what that tone of voice was, but I didn't really appreciate that.
Every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and every peasant, every young couple in love, every hopeful child, every mother and every father, every inventor,
and every YouTuber. I think that's what he was going to say. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to guess he was going to say YouTuber.
Every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam.
God damn it, narrator guy. Are you trying to, like, burst me into tears here? I mean, like, that was a very touching and very unnecessary pull at the heartstrings. I mean, that kind of makes me want to go, like, take a walk and not come back for several hours. Like, if that doesn't make you just, like, rethink your entire place in this universe, I don't really know what does.
Voyager 1 is currently traveling at 17 kilometers every single second, but even at that speed, it won't break out of the reach of our solar system for another 30,000 years.
Good God. And it's been traveling for 40 years, so Jesus Christ. I gotta stop looking shit up before he starts talking about it, because, I mean, there's no reason to get ahead of the ball here.
We go beyond the solar system, we arrive in our interstellar neighborhood. Here we shift to the light year unit of measurement, which is the distance that light travels in a full Earth year, or about 9.461 trillion kilometers. The star Proxima Centauri here is the closest other star to us other than our sun, but it's still 4.24 light years away from us.
So that means that the nearest star is nearly 50 trillion kilometers away? Like, what is the point of having a universe that big? Like, why do we need, like, this much space? Like, does God have, like, a bunch of projects that he's got to work on and he just needs, like, the extra room? Like, I'm also thinking that, like, if everything was closer together, then all of the gravitational pulls from all these different stars and stuff would, like, affect us and pull us inward, and maybe that's just, like, why everything's so separated? I really don't know. I don't know why I'm asking you guys this, but let's just let the narrator guy keep blowing our minds, I guess.
To put that into perspective, if it was heading in the right direction, it would still take Voyager 1 over 70,000 years to reach it. In other words, if you drove your car at 100 kilometers an hour like in our previous example to the moon, it would take over 6 times longer than the entire age of the universe is just to finally get there.
I like how it says wildly not to scale at the very bottom, as if I didn't know that cars aren't the size of entire fucking planets. But yeah, unless you're comfortable with waiting 90 billion years, I probably wouldn't take a car if you're planning on stopping by Proxima Centauri anytime soon. Just not a very efficient way to travel, you know what I mean?
And it wouldn't even exist still when you arrived. When we zoom out even further, we can see the entire...
That's actually also true because, like, everything we see in, like, the night sky is all, like, in the past because, like, the light hasn't hit us yet. So if you actually did make that trek all the way to that star, it would look completely different once you actually got there, so, which is actually insane. So everything we see could be completely gone. Like, all the stars we see could be dead at this point. So there could be, like, you know, giant supernovas that already happened that we just can't see it because the light hasn't gotten to us yet, which is actually pretty fucking mind-boggling.
When we zoom out even further, we can see the entire Milky Way galaxy, inside of which Earth is located right here. This yellow dot is the furthest extent of humanity's radio broadcasts throughout history, which means that any possible aliens who live outside of this range are totally unaware of humanity's presence.
That's pretty sad, isn't it? Also, it kind of makes me wonder how they know what the entire Milky Way looks like if we've never set anything more than like a centimeter inside the Milky Way. So a lot of like the pictures we see of the Milky Way is just like, I guess, artists drawing like what they think it looks like based on observations. So like we could have been lied to our entire lives, which is probably a very high probability. I'm just gonna keep believing everything I see on the internet. I don't know.
Complete silence outside of this yellow dot as far as we are currently aware, but the entire galaxy spans over 100,000 light years from end to end. There are over 100 billion stars and over 100 billion planets inside of our galaxy. But you have never seen the full glory of the galaxy at night, because 99% of the stars that you can see with the naked eye are limited to this small, tiny region right here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a very long and emotionally driven walk right after this. Then again, I'm in a fucking space station, so I don't really know how far I'm gonna be able to go, but thank God I have 2,000 square feet to work with. Yeah, we're gonna be thinking long and hard about this one.
This massive galaxy is nothing compared to the rest of what's out there. Zooming out even further and we arrive at the local group of galaxies, a collection of 54 different galaxies that is about 10 million light years across. But zooming out even further and we can see the Virgo supercluster, of which the local group here is just a tiny segment of.
So now we're doing neighborhoods now? Like, my mind was already blown, but like, do we really need to like keep going? You know what I mean? I was happy with just sticking with the Milky Way and just ending the video right there, but we still got like 4 minutes left in this video, so like, I mean, how much more shit do you guys have? There's a good possibility that I'm gonna disappear from the internet for weeks on end. Really gonna need to kind of internalize all this first.
There are at least 100 other groups of galaxies just like our own local group inside of here, and the distance from one side to the other is a mind-numbing 110 million light years.
Yeah, so two things. One, how the fuck do we know like all of this shit? It's crazy to think that like all of this was mapped out just from like astronomers observing the night sky. Like that's literally the only way we know about all this stuff. And two, if you think for a second that we're alone in the universe, you must be smoking the best weed that this planet has to offer.
But even the massive Virgo supercluster is nothing but a quiet and tiny lobe of the Great Laniakea supercluster, an enormous structure that is home to our galaxy as well as 100,000 other galaxies.
So yeah, the aliens are coming, and they're coming pretty soon. I don't know, I just really hope I get the answers about like the secrets to the universe before I die. Elon Musk, can you just like figure this shit out for me, please? Because like I don't want to die not knowing literally anything about anything, you know?
The distance from one side to the other is 520 million light years, but from even there we can zoom out all the way to the end.
Hold on now. You just zoomed out like an ungodly amount, and I don't really appreciate that. I'm probably gonna go take a walk in the middle of this fucking video, to be honest with you.
Entire observable universe and see that even the titanic Laniakea supercluster is just a tiny and insignificant part of everything. This is the observable universe, and it contains everything that we know of. It is home to at least 2 trillion different and individual galaxies.
2 trillion galaxies? What in the God's name are we doing here, man? We're so worthless. I mean, not me, but like most everybody else.
Together contain more stars than there are grains of sand on the entire Earth. The distance from Earth to any side of the observable universe is 46.5 billion light years, which means that the entire width is 93 billion light years across. What's perhaps even more interesting, however, is what actually lies beyond the observable universe. Keep in mind that the observable universe is all that we can...
I honestly don't even want to know, you know what I mean? Like, I'm happy with, you know, this observable universe. I think 93 billion light years is about enough for what I'm comfortable with.
...see, and it's entirely possible that the rest of the universe outside of it is vastly larger and more fantastic than we can possibly ever imagine. We simply don't know what else is out there, because the light from these incredibly distant places has not yet had enough time in the universe's history to reach us yet back on Earth, and the light from some places may never reach us at all. Because some parts of space very far away from Earth are expanding away from us faster than the speed of light, that means that the light from these places will never, in an infinite amount of time, reach Earth, meaning that even if humanity...
maybe with that attitude it won't reach us, you know what I mean? Let me at least have a little bit of faith. No, I'm just kidding, that's literally like the laws of physics, so he's absolutely right, but I just don't appreciate not knowing shit. This makes me feel very uncomfortable.
...is eternal and exists exists forever, there will still be an unknown number of places in the universe that we will never know about or ever see. So, it is very likely that as unbelievably enormous as it seems, the observable universe is just a tiny slice of what we can currently see of the entire universe. According to the theory of cosmic inflation that was proposed by Dr. Alan Guth, if it is assumed that cosmic inflation began at 10 to the negative 37th of a second after the Big Bang, and with the assumption that the size of the universe before inflation began was equal to its age times the speed of light, then this would seem to suggest that at the present day, the entire universe is 150 sextillion times
Sex. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
larger than the observable universe. That number for reference looks like this, with this many zeros. Let this number sink in for just a moment. This would be similar to you thinking that
I mean, I could sit here and sink it in for a while, but it's not gonna fucking sink in, you know what I mean? I really thought I was gonna feel good after this, and I really don't, you know what I mean? I really don't feel good after this.
entire observable universe. Everything that you could see was the size of a light bulb, but then realizing that in reality the entire universe is larger than the former planet of Pluto. Imagine a light bulb in the center of Pluto, but we inside the light bulb were totally unaware that Pluto existed outside of it, and that's a similar situation to this. We are all so unbelievably small, but you shouldn't worry, because all that means is that there is so much left out there for us to discover together.
You know, the only way we're going to be able to get to the bottom of this is if we just figure out how to teleport. If we can teleport, we can get to the edge of the observable universe in an instant, and then we'd probably find the answers that we're looking for. But I can't imagine we're going to get that technology for probably another, 1,000 years, so that is very depressing to know. Honestly, I think about this all the time. If we were just born just a little bit longer into the future, if I was born maybe in 100 years, I think people would probably be immortal at that point. They're gonna have the technology and AI and all that stuff to upload our consciousness to the web, and everyone's just gonna be able to sit there and just observe what happens for the next 1,000 years. So God fucking damn it, Dad, this is your fault. Anyways, there you have it. One more reason why you don't matter in this world. I'm just kidding. All of you guys matter. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have a career. So thanks again for suffering through another one of my really shitty videos. That was a lot. That was way more than my stupid little brain was prepared for. That was educational, I learned a lot, but I'm not sure if it was worth the existential crisis that I'm gonna have to go through as a result, as well as the thousands of dollars in therapy that I'm gonna be attending on top of that. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did not. I'm gonna go take a really long walk and reevaluate all my life decisions and my purpose in this world. So until next time, my friends, please do us all a favor and go fuck yourself.